Good afternoon and welcome to the African Heritage Diaspora Television, still the ultimate voice for Africans in the diaspora. My name remains Prince Tunde Adetunji. Airport and seaport undoubtedly are the greatest assets to the development of any city and any economy in any country. The city of Atlanta is blessed with the Hartsfield Airport, which has commanded the interest of and the silence of the international community since the 1996 Olympics. The infrastructure that commanded tourism and the hub business has made Atlanta the Mecca, the gateway of the global potentials, especially the African nation's potential to the country of the United States. Of course, kudos and credit should be given to the mayor that actually deemed it fit, the visionary that said Hartsfield Airport is a place that will launch Atlanta to this title. With me today to discuss this vital, great airport is the community-oriented professionals, the man who has done it all, who traveled from Salt Lake City to Tampa, and finally, the destination is Atlanta. His name, Mr. Louis Miller. Mr. Louis Miller, you are welcome to the African Heritage Diaspora Television.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate being here.
Well, your story is quite great and very impressive. You were an accountant by training, but eventually you made giant stride in the development of airport. Salt Lake City, Utah is where you started.
Yes.
Now, you are in Tampa, Florida. Finally, you are here in Atlanta. What a great journey. I want to say that we congratulate you. We are very proud of you. And Atlanta is really, really fortunate to have you here as the headsman for the Hartsfield Airport. Now, let's begin. Tell us your story. How did you start?
Like you started, actually I started before I was a CPA. I was in the United States Army from 1965 through 69, Sergeant E5 rank. Got out of the Army, and fortunately I used the GI Bill to go to college. And I went through college at Stevens Henniger Business College and the University of Utah. And I started out as a CPA, as you mentioned earlier, and I practiced as a CPA up until 1976. And in 1976, I decided, since I was an accountant, CPA, I didn't want to look back, because auditors are always looking backwards. I wanted to be a visionary and look forward. So I went out to become the chief accountant at the Salt Lake City Airport. And I did that in 76. And then I became the finance director. And then in 1982, they made me the airport director. So I was the airport director in Salt Lake City for 14 years. 14. And then in 1996, as you mentioned, I went to Tampa to become the airport director in Tampa. I did that for 14 years as well, so that must be my mantra, 14 years at a time. So maybe I'll be here 14 years. But and then when they called me and I had a chance to come to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, the busiest airport in the world, as you know, it was just an honor for me. And when I met Mayor Reed, you mentioned before, the mayors that started this, Mayor Hartsfield and Mayor Jackson, are the ones that really got the visionaries that got us where we are today. But I tell you, Mayor Reed is looking in the same direction. He's focused on the future. He wants to make sure we continue to grow the airport in our directions. And so some of his priorities we'll talk a little bit about later, but it's a thrill for me to be here.
Yeah, you are welcome to the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, and this is where the action of the world is now. Being the busiest airport since the emergence of the 1996 Olympics. Now, let's go into the specifics.
Sure.
I would like you to educate from your professional knowledge of the management of airport and the success of what you have done. You've actually built so many projects. You've established so many credibility and criteria of various airports at Utah, Miami, in Florida, now in Georgia. Airport and aerodrome, what is the difference between airport and aerodrome?
Well, aerodrome is more something that serves around the airport and is for the community, not necessarily for flying or not necessarily going somewhere. The key to what we do and what we try to accomplish is the airport. And our goal as an airport operator is to make sure we provide a smooth transition for the people to get from ground transportation to air transportation and then back to ground transportation when they leave. You know, here at Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport, there are 58,000 people that work here, that are working here when you consider airline employees and airport employees and the Transportation Security Administration and Customs and Border Protection and all of the vendors that are here, the concessionaires, food and beverage and merchandise. And our job is to bring them all together and create a family and a partnership to make sure we can make that smooth transition. Providing the highest level of customer service is our #1 priority. However, we can't sacrifice safety or security because in this day and age, security and safety that's the most important. But customer service is very important too. So our work towards growing the airport in a direction that will provide higher levels of service and meet the needs of the community. You know, I mentioned Mayor Reed. Mayor Reed is really pushing air cargo. We want to have air cargo development coming out because you need to get products and services, goods as well as people. So, and I went through that in Salt Lake City and in Tampa and now here, and it's just having the opportunity here in Atlanta is just amazing, and it's such a welcoming city. I mean, I've been here 6 months now. People like yourself and others have talked to me, and they welcome me with open arms, and they say they're glad that I'm here, and they'll do whatever they can to try to help and make the airport a success. And we need community support to do that.
There are 3 kinds of people: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those that wonder why and how it happens. You fall among the category of people that make things happen. Atlanta Airport, Hartsfield Jackson Airport, true story, since 2009 has been reputed to be the most busiest airport now in the world today.
Yes.
And it's serving almost about 88 million people. Yes. Easy out and easy in and out. And there is a good record of tight security, no incident. The airport is developing. What is your mission and the vision for the Hartsfield Jackson Airport? Well,
first of all, our mission and vision is to continue moving in that direction, to continue with the growth, and to continue providing the high level of service that we have in the past. And we have been recognized and awarded for the level of service that we provide. So it's something we're pleased with. But the biggest challenge that we face is as we grow and we grow and we grow, we've got to develop and bring more things online to make it work. And right now we're planning in the spring of 2012, which is just a little over a year away, we're going to open the new Maynard H. Jackson International Terminal. And that will provide us with 12 additional international gates on top of the 28 gates that we already have on E. So we'll actually have a complex of 40 gates for international arrivals. That's one of the largest in the country. And so we're hoping, and we're working with the airlines to develop us in the future that we get more international service, more flights to Africa. For example, right now we have 17 flights a week going into Africa in 4 different countries. We hope to have that grow and get more in the future. There are other opportunities. We can go through New York, going through Kennedy Airport, and there's an additional 4 destinations down into Africa. But we would like to see those flights all coming through Atlanta because it makes it easy for our community. Now, one thing people don't know, and that's, you know, we have 88 million people a year last year, almost 89. Yes. But 70% of those people never leave the airport. They just get off one plane to another plane. And so really the strength of having the hub, the connecting hub where you gather the people together, and you have carriers, you know, notable, like Delta Airlines is phenomenal. They do a terrific job here. AirTran is our 2nd largest carrier. They're doing very well. And then we have a lot of foreign flag carriers and a lot of carriers, you know, the other U.S. carriers. So we have the mix of what we need, and we see the future coming. Now, there's another announcement that was just made, Southwest acquiring AirTran. Yes. You read about that. Very good news, and in the future, it's going to be good for our community. AirTran's a terrific airline, don't get me wrong, but Southwest has been around a lot longer. They serve 39 markets in the United States that AirTran doesn't serve. So that's more opportunities here from Atlanta. 29 of those markets are west of Atlanta, so that gives us more opportunity to go to the west. And the Southwest will start into doing some international service for the first time, and so that's good for us as well. Now, they won't go as far as Africa, but they will be flying into the Caribbean and Latin America and into Mexico and places like that.
Well, I think this is very impressive from the avalanche of different development and stories. It's been good for the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Now, let us look into the area of day-to-day management of the airport. I know that you are not strange in the area of how to put things together, how to create more things, and also how to make things move, and also how to get everything stabilized. To reach the top is one task. To retain and maintain and being at the top is an arduous task.
Yes.
Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport now is at the epoch, the zenith of its calling, the epoch. For this airport to remain the best, the alluring airport, and also the airport that command the sensitivity and also the tourism of the world, the business of the world, what will be your number one, number two, number three objectives?
To continue to make sure we meet the requirements of the users,
yes.
the expectations of the users, to make sure when they come to the airport they have a place to park.
Right.
A convenient parking place. That is very important to them.
Right.
That we have adequate ground transportation coming to the airport, if they take a taxi cab, or if they take a limousine, or they take a bus, or they come in on MARTA. So we want to make sure we provide that transition so they can get from the ground into the terminal building. And then we need to make sure we keep and continue to grow the processing to go from the terminal building to the gate. Then when they get on the gate, get on the airplane, to make sure there's a smooth taxi availability so they can taxi out to the runway and get out of here without delay. And so that's our goal, is to provide the facilities, like this last winter when we had the ice storm.
Right.
Lots of problems with that, but we need to work with the airlines to make sure we have the de-icing facilities to de-ice the airplanes. That the airplanes can move, that if the snow comes down like it did, that we clean the runways off very quickly and they're available for the people to use them. And, you know, the number one, a person, they want to get through without being delayed.
Right.
So our goal is to make sure we make it that transition very smooth and easy without sacrificing security. So we have to work with the Transportation Security Administration, and we do a good job working with them. We've expanded our number of lanes, the lanes where you can go through to get screened, up to 32 lanes into 3 different checkpoints. We have the north checkpoint, the south, and the central. And by having all this quick access through security, makes it a lot better for the customer. They get from where they want to go to where they want to go very quickly. And then we make sure when they're there, if they are waiting and they have time, that we have food and beverage concessions for them to utilize, merchandise for them to buy if they want to buy a magazine or they want to buy something to take on the airplane. So we go through a long process of keeping everything available to everybody, and it's a lot of work.
I know. I want to say that is a great job and also a lot of work. But they say there is no second chance to first impression.
Right.
Anybody that comes to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, what they are looking for is service. They don't want to miss their flight.
Right.
They don't want the flight delayed.
Right.
There is adequate security. Then they have people that are friendly and also give them the hospitality, a beautiful one. These are composition and combination of what makes the history of a strong airport. And this has been reputed to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. From your record, from Salt Lake City to Tampa, you've done this very well. These points I mentioned, especially top security, especially the maintenance of the airport facility, especially people coming and they do their job very well. They are at the right place at the right time. And especially also people not missing their flight due to traffic, parking, and everything. And especially the aircraft is leaving on time.
Yes.
And arriving on time.
Yeah.
What are your areas of changes, maintenance, and also your antidote you want to put into this to make sure this is solid and rigid?